We did say at halftime that for the performance, Xabi Alonso and Real Madrid would want a lot more. Did we get it in the end?
Honestly, those that are looking for some sort of outstanding performance from Real Madrid, I don't think that was ever going to happen today. I think what you take out of this is the win. A chance to breathe. A chance to sit back and you go, just everybody calm down. We're only 4 points behind Barcelona. Calm down. Let's play Copa del Rey in midweek. Probably, and should get a win in the midweek. Let's play against Sevilla next week. Probably should get a win against Sevilla. And then we move on with our lives. Everybody just take a deep breath. That's what this result, not the performance, that's what this result allows you to do. And I was asking, as you mentioned in the pregame, okay, we've talked a lot about Xabi Alonso. Xabi Alonso this, Xabi Alonso that. Can he handle the moment? Can he handle the pressure? Is his job on the line? What about the players? What about the players? And whether you can argue that they could have been better individually, that they could have been better as a group today, that it could have been a better performance, what you cannot argue, and I don't think you could argue this against Manchester City, is the effort of the players. And we saw a team that, yes, has vulnerabilities and has issues, and the structure's not quite there, and the clarity is not quite there, and there are so many issues with Real Madrid, but the effort was there today.
Yeah.
And the fight was there today. You cannot discount that. Highlight a guy like Jude Bellingham, who some people, not me, but some people have questions sort of like the mentality and how does he fit into the English national team and his commitment to Thomas Tuchel and whether he's able to do the teamwork or not. I don't know about England, but when I see him play with Real Madrid, I tell you what I see. A guy who today knew that he had in Valdepeñas a younger player that he had to protect, and knew that if he was going to commit to go forward, he was always going to have the commitment to go back. And he needed to have that commitment so that he could protect Tchouaméni and support Arda Güler as well. There was work from Jude Bellingham in the front line, in the middle third, and in the back third. And that tells me that these players are bought in. They may not be able to deliver all the time in terms of the performance, but when it came down to it, they grinded a result. And that, I think, tells you a lot about these players and their relationship with Xabi Alonso. So everybody, take a deep breath. Find that inner peace. Breathe a little. And then move on with your life.
All right, well, let's move on with our life because I think we managed to wake Luis Garcia up. Luis, I know you're back with us now. There he is. He's moving. We can see, so he's not frozen. But Luis, you probably heard what Ale said. We did say that we've been talking so much about Xabi Alonso and is his job on the line? Can he handle a big team with big stars like this? That we haven't spoken a lot about the players, and something that he noticed from them today is that they had the urgency, they had the fight as well. They had that scrappiness that champions are made of. Did you see that today?
Yeah, for many minutes, not for all the game, but many minutes. And sometimes during a season, they are highs and lows at any stage. And right now, by Real Madrid, we all can agree that they are one of the worst lows that we've seen Real Madrid for quite a long time. But definitely, the effort that Ale was mentioning, it was there. We could see that Alaves in many minutes, they were controlling. Real Madrid was arriving late on the pressure, so they need to run more. We've seen Vinicius Junior running behind and chasing players at the back. We've seen in the middle of the park, Tchouaméni running all around.
That given the player personnel that is available to Xabi Alonso and the history of this club, that they should always dominate. And we just haven't seen that from Real Madrid this season, but we haven't seen that from Real Madrid for a while, being a dominant team, a team that from the first minute to the 90th minute put thorough performances together. It's not just a Xabi Alonso issue. This has been going on, but they've been able to string together results in the past because of the individual talent that they have available that is far better and far superior to that of Alaves or most teams in La Liga for that matter, and I would argue for most teams in Europe. What you want to see, or what I would want to see if I were a Real Madrid fan, is that you give me the effort. Yes, we want that. You give me the urgency. Yes, we want that. You give me the talent. Yes, we want that. But also, when you put all of that together with organization, with structure, then you don't have players running, putting in the effort, but by themselves. Not with organization, not with order, but just everybody just running on their own. And at halftime, I mentioned they look like a team that is just freestyling, that it's just one guy's over there, the other guy's over there. What you would want from this team is give you all the things that we just mentioned, all the intangibles, all the effort, all the urgency, all the talent, but also give me something that it is clear to see, and that is, what is the organization? What is the structure of this group? So that when you go and press the ball, you go and press it together. When you go and drop behind the ball, you drop together. They're all over the place. There is no real organization. There's no real clarity as to what they're trying to do. But today they overcame that with effort. Mm-hmm. And they got the result that they needed and that Xabi Alonso desperately needed.
Well, Luis, as Ale said, I mean, in terms of style, identity, we still have questions there, but they did get the result that they needed. They did get the result that everyone said Xabi needed to stay on in the job. So does this result, do you feel, buy him at least another week, 2 weeks, maybe a month as Real Madrid manager?
No, well, you never know that, because there is a Copa del Rey in the midweek. You're going to have Sevilla just before the break of Christmas. That is when everything, or some of the managers, we've seen already a couple of managers being sacked from the first division and also in the second division in La Liga. So you never know, and much more at Real Madrid. But I think that you could see that all the rumors about the team not being supporting the manager, the team just being the kind of not understanding what Xabi wanted, or the structure of Xabi, or the idea, or how they train. I think that you could see that the commitment of the player is right there, and it's all about continue working. There is no much time of work for Real Madrid because they play so many games that there is no time to kind of address the situation of the structure that Ale was mentioning, of the system that Xabi Alonso wants to play. But in the end, the results will give you that opportunity to build up in the confidence, getting back the messages that Xabi is trying to implement into the team. And I think that we said it before the game, not even losing, I think that Xabi Alonso was going to lose the job. So I expect Xabi to end up the season. We'll see if he can manage to get a trophy or not, but at least he will have the opportunity to spend 1 year and to try to construct something important for the future.
All right, well, like I've said many a time on this show, nobody, not even the devil, works harder than our Luis Garcia, because here he is burning the midnight oil, but he actually took to the pitch to play in a final and won yet another trophy. Luis, tell us, man.
He didn't play.
Well,
he put the players on the field.
He put the players out there as well. He Xabi Alonso did, right?
Well, from a little further than Xabi Alonso, but he had a hand. He had a hand in it and 2 hands on the trophy. I'll say that.
Yes, Luis, tell us about this trophy.
No, not at all. Yes, of course. Thank you very much, guys. It's been a fantastic night. We had the opportunity here in Malaysia, the Johor Darul Tahsin, my team that I'm involved with. We managed to get the FA Cup here in Malaysia, in Kuala Lumpur. Thanks to our Crown Prince, Tunku Ismail, that is our leader and guidance here at the club. Kiko Inside was one of the is the sporting director, is one also of the most important persons here at the club. And Chisco Muñoz, that is our manager, together with the whole of the team. It was tough, but we managed to get that trophy, that we bring it back home. So very happy. So thank you very much for the congratulations.
Look at that, only winners.
Here's the thing. He's dealing with crown princes. You're dealing with me, Alexi.
Ale,
different level.
Different level.
Different level.
You're a crown prince
different
in your
level.
own right, Ale.
Huh?
You're a crown prince in your own right.
Thank you. Thank you, Alexi.
But not as big of a crown prince as our Luis Garcia. Luis, what time is it there? Because we need to send you to bed.
6:11 right now.
Oh, yes.
Look at that, 6:11.
Just keep the party going, Luis. Just keep it going, baby.
Yeah.
Go get some sangria, Luis Garcia.
Just keep it going.
Sangria. Thank you so much, Luis. Go get some rest.
Thank you, guys. Thank you very much. See you soon.
All right, well, I'm sure we'll hear a lot more from Luis as Spanish football continues on our network. The Copa del Rey is back on ESPN Plus this week. On Tuesday, Guadalajara will host Barcelona at 3 p.m. And then on Wednesday, it's a double header. Both sides of Madrid, Atleti and Real, will be in action. Hot on Arsenal's tails, only 2 points behind the league leaders, the Gunners. They're in second position. All right, let's bring in the rest of our crew. A very, very happy Nader Manoa, not just because Manchester City won today, but a certain Sunderland got a big win too, and I think that's the one that's going to sweet him a little bit more. And our Frank Leboeuf, who's got his very, very fancy glasses on. But Nader, you know I'm going to, of course, start with you on this one. City once again reducing the gap to 2 points. It looks like they're ready to push Arsenal all the way.
Yeah, it certainly feels that way. I think the performance itself today, I think the scoreline in some ways probably flatters to deceive a little bit, because Palace should definitely come away from the game thinking that they should have scored. But for City, it's about being clinical. I think, as Ali said, when you've got that ball into the box for the 6'4" Erling Haaland at the back post, you got to take it, and he certainly did that today. And for City, yeah, considering they haven't been as consistent as, say, Arsenal have been throughout the season, it's not really felt the same. The fact that they're essentially one win and one weekend away from being top of the league, it's a strange sort of position to be in, because it doesn't feel like the two sides are having the same sort of season. But this is Man City, it gets towards Christmas time, winter time, and you start to see them sort of find their position, find their footing, and then go on some of these runs that have led to them, winning Premier League titles in times gone by. And I'm not saying it's a guarantee it's going to happen now, but it's definitely a guarantee they're going to do everything they can to make sure that come the end of the season, if Arsenal do win the title, they'll be deserving winners because they've had to work so hard for it.
Frank, what did you make of this latest result and latest win for Manchester City? Because we know how Crystal Palace can definitely be a tricky team to beat, especially at home.
Yes, exactly. And that Jeremy scored that early shot that he hit the post or the crossbar. That might be a different story. But I like the fact that Manchester City are confirming that they're going to chase Arsenal and not giving up, and the fact that Guardiola finally found a way to play the football in another style, a more direct one that I think we would have never seen last year or the year before, a cross like that from Nunez and the header from Haaland, that directly, I would say. So that's the way of changing the way he wants to play, more directly, with no needing of 45 passes before scoring a goal. So I like it. I like the fact that Cherki and Foden, they found each other again today. Another assist from Cherki, another goal from Foden. Everything is going great. Defensively, I found, it's quite easy with Crystal Palace because Crystal Palace don't like to have the ball, but I found Manchester City quite settled down and quite solid. Donnarumma didn't have good games because he did 8 goals in, I think, 4 games lately, but today he was there and did the job. So a good game, 3-0, nothing to say. You go back to Manchester City, you're happy to do so, and you've done the job.
They did the job indeed. But Ale, we have to talk about the big man you were talking about, Erling Haaland's 16th Premier League goal of the season so far. He's just, I've almost lost words and compliments to give him at this point. It's scary.
Yeah, he's pretty good, isn't he?
Yeah, he's all right.
Yeah, right. Look, we have criticized Mateus Nunes quite a bit defensively, and I think rightfully so. He's just not a right back. But when he finds himself in an advanced position and you give him time and space, a lot of the Manchester City players would have chosen to, I'm going to play this ball sideways and back and sideways again. This guy with a far more offensive approach says, you know what? I got the big guy over there. Why am I going to knock the ball over here when I can just play him there? I can hit this ball there and have him go get it. Have him go get it. Is there anybody else in the world inside the 18-yard box that you would prefer going to go get a ball, a cross, an incoming cross in the world? Name me somebody that can go and get a ball better than Erling Haaland. And honestly, I don't know why Manchester City don't do this more often. If I were a wing player for Manchester City, say for example a Doku, who would love to do this move, this move, the one where he cuts to the right, that. He loves to do that one. How about you just take it to the outside and swing a ball in and let the big man go and jump and get it? If you put a ball in a dangerous area, more times than not, he's going to finish those chances. And as a striker, you love the crosses coming in that you go and attack. That's what you want. That's what you dream for. That's what keeps you alive. The idea of going and attacking a ball inside the 18-yard box.
Frank, you wanted to chime in?
Yeah, if I may, Ali, I think you're right. You're absolutely right. Everybody should do that. But I have the feeling that they weren't allowed to do that. At a certain point, like it was like Pep Guardiola, we're asking them to be sure 100% before crossing the ball that the guy would get the ball, that you are never 100% sure. And it's why they didn't try. They put the ball back to make sure that they don't lose the ball. And that was the idea of Guardiola last season, the season before. And I'm so happy to see that they are, like Nunes showed today, capable of taking a decision and say, okay, I go for it. Good luck. You have the big guy, yeah, that's better than anybody else, but they try, and that is what I like the most about this season with Manchester City.
Nadim, did you notice that as well?
To a certain extent, but I mean, let's not overreact here. Like, the guy scored 100 Premier League goals, so I think
I'm a
he's getting
comedian.
enough
I'm
good
an actor.
service, and he has scored
It's why you have to overact.
Let us be dramatic, Nato.
And yeah, of course. But this was a great example of how good he can be in the air. But I think to sort of add a little bit of nuance to this particular goal itself, as the ball comes into the box, I'm wondering, well, why is he sort of semi-free? You know, why is he behind? I think it was Chris Richards at the back post. And I think it's because City had 4 players in the box in this particular instance. I think at times when they don't put it into the box, they don't really like the numbers game as such. But I think the fact that they put those many bodies into the box, I think that the right decision is always to put it in, because the player's there and ready to compete. And if it doesn't drop to Erling, then maybe it drops to the next person. Maybe it's Reinders, who knows, whoever it's going to be. So yeah, I think at times being able to mix up like that is good. And in fairness to Núñez, he has provided quite a few assists for Haaland in recent, say, months and so on. But yeah, when the ball goes up in the air and he can jump so high as well, he's such a great target man, such a great finisher. And best of all, if the service is anywhere near him, you know he's going to throw everything he can to do it. And like I said before, getting that head over Chris Richards is a huge achievement. And I think for Palace to concede a goal like that, I think it says a lot about the quality of the ball and the desire that Haaland has to be able to finish it the way he did.
3-2 is how it would end. A valiant fight from West Ham at home, but in the end, like I said, Unai Emery and that Aston Villa train is just going and ticking on very, very nicely. All right, Nato, Aston Villa now not too far behind Manchester City. And like I said, they are coming along nicely, almost slipping under the radar. I suppose, what's impressed you the most about what the performance we saw today?
I think it's their ability to come back. I think it was the same way that we saw them do it against Brighton. I think it was midweek, last week rather. The game's never really done. Even when they seem like there's a point where maybe they're on their back foot, they're not playing some of their best football. I think they have a real sense of belief now, and as a consequence, the quality that they have from the players, you know, it steps up. Like, look at the way that, say, Rodgers is playing at this moment in time, the goals that he's scoring, and even add him to lots of other players who were at the start of the season, it seemed like they were devoid of confidence. There were issues with how little money they spent in the transfer window. They hadn't necessarily made the side that much better. But now they're in motion, they feel really, really good, and no matter what the situation is on the field, they know that they can find a way to do it. And I think in some ways, you know, getting that win against Arsenal, getting a win against Man City not too long ago, those are wins that really showed that they're capable of being up near the top of the league. And yes, it doesn't naturally feel great at this moment in time to say that they're going to be potentially winning a league title. But the fact is, well, who's going to beat them? We've seen them beat the 2 teams that are ahead of them so far. And why would they not believe that they can continue to be on this run? I think it's 9 wins out of the last 10 games potentially in the league. So they are the form side, and they're very much deserving of, you know, no longer being under the radar, but being spoken about in true terms as being like a really, really good side.
All right, well, we're almost halfway through the season, so let's have a look at the Premier League title odds. We tend to rely on our Don Hutchison and his percentages, but we had enough of that on the show yesterday, so these are the Premier League title odds. Aston Villa, believe it or not, very much in the mix there, but Arsenal, still slight favorites. Manchester City as well in the mix. So let me get... I suppose predictions from you guys now. What do you make of these odds? Who are your favorites? Do you still have a clear favorite now that we know that Manchester City and Aston Villa have really started to turn a corner and look really good recently? Nadim, let me start with you again.
I think for me, it's still very much about Arsenal, to be honest. I think they have been the most consistent side throughout the season to this point. I think for City, they've had some ups, but they've also shown a sort of tendency to concede too many goals at certain points, and that's been counteracted in some ways in recent weeks because they've gone on this scoring frenzy as such. But you can't really last through between now and the end of the season if you can concede as many goals as they have done. Obviously, the last 2 league games, they have managed to keep a clean sheet, but look at the game against Fulham, to be 5-1 up and then all of a sudden it's 5-4. That's not great. To be 2-0 up at home against Leeds and having to fight your way through to a 3-2 draw at home, that's not necessarily great football from them. So I think it's still fair to have it in the way that it is right now, because you know that Arsenal defensively, probably 9 times out of 10, are going to be very, very good. Obviously, on occasion, you need some own goals to win your games of football. That's fine. Yeah. But defensively, they are so good that I think that's the foundation for them to potentially go on and win the league this year.
After the whole thing breakdown, thesis statement that we heard from Natum about Aston Villa, he didn't even mention them. Didn't even mention them as a possibility. Now he told me, well, how are we going to believe on this team? Why wouldn't we? They have been the teams above them and so on. And this, I was believing. I thought, oh, man, Natum is really making a case for Aston Villa. And when he came to actually taking a position, not even a mention of Aston Villa. And I agree, by the way.
So we'll just exclude Villa from this then.
We wasted 30 seconds for the same thing.
Wait,
you know?
hold
Thank you very
on.
much, Ali.
Wait a minute. Are you in a rush? You got to go somewhere, Frank?
Not necessarily, but I want to talk.
All right. Oh, so it's about you. Oh, I forgot.
Yeah,
Go
of
ahead.
course.
Go ahead.
Let's hear from Frank. Frank, the floor is
Thank
yours.
you,
Who's your
thank
favorite?
you. Well, it's still Arsenal, but it's not that clear. You know, it's getting a little bit blurry since Arsenal 11 guy against 10. They drew at Stamford Bridge. Then I saw performances not as the level that I was putting Arsenal at. Really, I'm getting well. I saw yesterday the game against Wolverhampton 1-0. Yeah, you might say they parked the bus and it's hard to create chances, but it's not as clear as it was. And I think there is a possibility, maybe for Manchester City, but also for Aston Villa, who remain everybody beat Arsenal at the last second of the game, like some days ago. So for me, yes, there is a chance, and yes, I put Aston Villa as a contender. I'm very excited about the Villains. The way they play, the way they react. Konsa made 2 mistakes. The first goal, and he was covering the offside.
Pick them, Frank. Pick them. Are they going to win this thing?
Yes, well, Ali, okay, I go for it. You know what,
Okay.
Ali, just to bother you, annoy you, and annoy everybody, I go for it because, well, they have everything to do so, and why they wouldn't? Yes, it's the years of Arsenal, everybody will agree, it's an easy bet, but I want to make money. So if I want to make money, I go on the Villains.
Wow. Well,
Okay.
all right. So Frank's going for Aston Villa to win the Premier League. And if you want to hear...
It's the same guy that picked Canada and Denmark to play the last World Cup.
Oh my God! Yeah, but that's the same guy who said last time that I'm going to win. That Aston Villa's going to win against Arsenal, and I did.
Well, Frank is going to give us more of his terrible picks over on Extra Time, but Nedum and Ale will be there as well for Bayern Munich there, as he has done many times, but still it wasn't enough for them to get all 3 points. Let's get some post-match reaction, shall we? From Alphonso Davies and Vincent Kompany on what went wrong for Bayern today.
That's the coach's job to see those, to show us those errors, and you know, we as a collective, as a team, to train and make it better. But I think right now, we're disappointed about the results, but we know that we're going to bounce back from this, and we're going to continue on the way we've been playing in the past.
Frustration is sometimes part of the job. It's just how you handle it, and I choose to look back at this and say, okay, I've seen these type of games before. Don't let yourself get crazy. The things we have to improve are very obvious, but they're not fundamental. Sort of, for those who watch Star Wars, sort of Death Star weaknesses. You know, we just have to make sure that we never get complacent and we improve.
You saying you're the Death Star?
Well, no, but, you know, no, we're not. I hope we're not. That's the reason why.
You say it's obvious. Can you say what you mean?
No, well, you look at the 2 goals. What have you seen?
They've hit you.
Have you watched the game?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah.
I have. Well, they've hit you at set pieces, which has
Right.
happened as it has quite a bit before the
So,
Arsenal game.
Yeah, and it is
which
what
is
it
one
is.
thing and one on the break.
Yeah, and it is what it is. If it was a lot more things to look back at, obviously the tasks would be a lot bigger. But sometimes it's good when it's clear, and it puts a lot of clarity in what we need to improve. But we have the time to do it.
All right, so Bayern dropping points. It has been a rare occasion this season. Let's have a look at the Bundesliga table. And look, they're still pretty safe, though, Ale. I mean, over 10 points clear at the top, ahead of Leipzig and Dortmund. But any major concern?
They're clear, and it's 9 points. I'm just saying, if you do quick math.
Sorry, yes, that's what I meant. I failed math, by the way, so honestly, it is what it is. But any concerns here in this latest, I suppose, version of Bayern dropping points?
Over the last month or so, what we have seen from Bayern Munich is that defending set pieces has been a problem. And what is a concern is that I assume that Vincent Kompany has tried to address this and has made it very clear as to what the roles of every player is in a set-piece opportunity, where they have to defend, who they have to pick up, and yet you continue to find open runners, open headers, open finishes. And so that in itself is concerning because it's something that keeps happening. Bayern Munich is always going to be vulnerable for transitions defensively. When you get out and attack Bayern Munich because they have committed so many numbers forward, if you're able to play that first pass out of pressure, you're going to find yourself in a position that if you pick out the right pass, you will create a chance against Bayern Munich. And that's what Mainz did today. Now, here's the thing, context. Mainz were horrendous coming into this game. They have fired their coach in Bo Henriksen. And here there are issues about Mainz. And you're thinking, oh man, is this a relegation sort of team coming into the Allianz Arena? You're thinking, we're thinking, hey, this should be all Bayern Munich all the time. The problem is, Bayern Munich were thinking that, particularly after they scored the first goal, they thought, this is over. And it wasn't. So give credit to Mainz that they took advantage of some of the vulnerabilities that have been present for Bayern Munich. And then give credit to Bayern Munich that are able to get back into the match, and they tie the game up, and it's 2-2, and everybody just kind of says, we'll be fine. And they will be fine in Bundesliga, but the goals for Bayern Munich are much bigger than that. And defending set pieces is something that they're going to have to improve upon, because it is something that is clear to see, it's glaring for everybody to see that this is an area where they struggle.
All right, well, here is the bottom half of the La Liga standings, and Real Oviedo. It's been a rough time for them, let's say that. So we should probably call and check in on how our boy Sidlow is doing.
Not very well, I don't think.
Not very well indeed. Yes, indeed.
Yeah, they're doing so well that they fired the manager today. That's how well things are going.
Maybe Sid's going to come in.
Sid is going to coach the team?
We could ask him.
Well, it'll give us access, I'll tell you that much.
Sid had any decisions in sacking the manager.
You think he has that kind of power? All right. Okay.
He's Sidlow. He's Sidlow. All right, well, let's go to the top half of the La Liga standings. Just to remind you that Barcelona are at the top, but Real Madrid still managed to close the gap a little bit between them, at least for the time being. They were in action today. They managed to get a win away to Alaves. Alex Kirkland was pitch side there for us. Alex, you just came out of that conference with Xabi Alonso. What was the mood like?
Yeah, interesting hearing from Xabi. He said he liked a lot of things that he saw from the team, the way they'd started the game, admitted they dropped off a bit in the first half, but said he was pleased with the reaction in the second half as well. He was looking to kind of stress the positives, said the team needs to be more consistent. The big question, though, really is how much does tonight's game really change in terms of Xabi Alonso's situation? Because, yes, they got the win, but I don't think they were particularly convincing in terms of how they played. So they cleared sort of the lowest bar of getting the 3 points. They didn't play especially well. And where does that leave Xabi Alonso? I think it leaves him pretty much where he was before this game kicked off, to be honest. I think we'll see the same thing in the Copa del Rey in midweek. Xabi Alonso referenced that game. He said they've got 2 games left before Christmas and they've got to keep up their performance levels. But like I say, I think it's going to be kind of Groundhog Day on Wednesday and again next weekend in La Liga, because, yes, the team got the win, but there's still, I think, a lot of questions and a lot of things that don't seem quite right about the way that they're playing.
Ale, what do you make of what Alex just had to say?
Well, he referenced the result, just getting the result and just getting the win as the lowest bar, but I think it's the most important bar. There was nowhere else to go for Xabi Alonso and Real Madrid if they hadn't cleared that lowest bar, which is winning the game away at Alaves. And right now, where this team was, clearing that bar seemed like the most impossible task. So they get over that, and as I said before, it just gives you a chance to, hey, let's breathe. And if Xabi Alonso and Real Madrid are unable to be Talavera in Copa del Rey, then go out. See you later. Take care, right? But at the very least, you're able to set up for this game knowing full well what the expectations are and knowing full well that you just won a game, which generates positive momentum. And this is what this team needs, positive momentum. It may be just a little bit, but it's enough for this team to move forward. Then you beat Talavera in Copa del Rey, and you continue to move forward. And then you beat Sevilla in La Liga, and then you continue to move forward. I'm trying to be positive here for Xabi Alonso and Real Madrid. Why would you say something like that? People would think that I'm a negative person. I'm a beacon of positivity.
You are a beacon of positivity. That is so true. Alex is still here with us. Alex, just a quick one before you go, because we asked it to Luis Garcia earlier on, that, as you said, they cleared the lowest bar. It wasn't necessarily a dominant performance perfect performance from Real Madrid. But as Ale said, we got to see that scrappiness, that fight, that kind of performance from the players that we wanted. How much time do you think this would buy Xavi?
I think the most likely scenario right now is that he gets to the Christmas break. So I don't think right now, unless something really embarrassing happens in the Copa del Rey, unless they're really bad against Sevilla next weekend in the league, I think he goes into the Christmas break as coach of Real Madrid. The big question is, does he come out the other side in the new year as coach of Real Madrid? And I'm still not sure, because like I say, I still think there are so many doubts behind the scenes at the highest level at the club about him now. I think it's going to be difficult to change some of those perceptions. But I think right now, like I say, the most likely thing is for this week, at least, he's still in charge for Christmas.
All right. Well, Alex, you're an Englishman, but you've been shaking all day in the cold there. So we have felt sorry for you. We're going to let you go as Spurs absolutely thrashed in this one by Nottingham Forest. All right, let's have a look at the bottom half of the Premier League standings, because that's where you will find Spurs. They are tied with Newcastle in 11th and 12th with 22 points each. And Forest, they're in 16th spot, but no doubt they will be feeling pretty big after that big win. Nadam, let me come to you because you're with us as well with Frank Leboeuf. But Nadam, Spurs just not looking good at all.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think the way this season started, I thought maybe this will work out really well with Thomas Frank at the helm. But as the weeks have passed, you start to see a bit of discontent because they were really, really poor at home, but they still had a good away record. But if things start falling down in the away side of things as well, then I think it's going to be hugely disappointing. And I think, we saw those goals there, the mistake from Archie Gray for the first one, and then the goalkeeper Vicario for the second one. But the fact is, you're playing against the Forest side, who were playing in Europe on Thursday night. And yes, they did change some players, but it's a different type of focus, and you should almost be thriving to play against a team that's not at the same amount of recovery as you. But instead for Spurs, you see Forest essentially dominate the game itself. And more disappointingly, which is something that sort of is sliding under the radar a little bit, Spurs are again lacking creativity. I think when we see or think of the best version of a Spurs side, you see one that's creating tons of opportunities, you're seeing speed in transition, you're seeing nice bits of play, you're seeing chance after chance after chance. But this isn't the Spurs side that we've seen, and today was another example of that. And unfortunately, this is kind of becoming 4, 5, 6 times where this has been the case so far this season.
Frank, what did you make of this latest loss for Spurs? Because as Nathan pointed out, we understand that they had their issues at home that they were trying to right. But if now you can't get big wins away from home, I mean, should we start pressing that panic button?
Yes, we should, and it's going to be a hard time for Thomas Frank, I think, because I have seen Spurs being like that for years, where the inconsistency has been the trademark of that club. Where you can win the Europa League, you can pretend to chase the best, but suddenly you disappear or you become the Spurs that I know, and there isn't any reaction. That's what I feel the most about that club. Is I don't feel the pressure. I don't feel the pressure of the fans being fed up to see years after years the same situation where they can pretend to be good and get something out of it, and suddenly, being out of it. And that's absolutely crazy for me. And from the club, from the board, and from the fans, I'm expecting something coming out to say, now, enough is enough, guys. You're on the field. Why you can find inconsistency? Because that's the same word every year that I say about Spurs, because you have the talent, you have the possibilities, you have the money for that, and nothing comes up.
All right, well, we've had a weekend full of Premier League action, but that they have to save the best for last. And that is the game that's coming up tomorrow. Manchester United up against Bournemouth. Here are the odds for that one, and believe it or not, I did not rig this.
I don't believe it.
Manchester United favorites to win against Bournemouth at home, so that only means that United will now inevitably lose against Bournemouth. All right, right, welcome into Extra Time. Only winners on this Extra Time. Big winners indeed, because we've got a World Cup winner in Frank Leboeuf that is joining us. And Nathan, well, he's just a winner in our hearts.
Wow.
Thanks, Alexis.
Alexis,
Yes, Frank.
don't be that bad with Nathan, because I just heard during the show that you are a big friend with a girl who plays for Manchester City.
I know.
You are saying that Manchester City are getting great. You are saying that Manchester City have the best striker in the women's football. You, Alexis Nunez. Ooh, shame on you.
Oh, yes, I do know. I defend you. You may try. But above all that, you choose country over club. And
Jamaica.
she's my fellow Jamaican.
Jamaica
Okay.
first.
Come on. She's a Reggae Girls captain. Blood of my blood. Country over club. I don't even see the jersey. I just see her. I just see a giant Jamaican flag scoring.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Nadom's laughing because he knows I've been to more Manchester City women's game than I have of Manchester United women's games. Surprised I don't spontaneously combust every time I walk into that stadium. Anyways, let's get into some questions, shall we? First one, should Thomas Frank begin to worry about his job? Nadom.
He doesn't really come across as somebody that is a worrier as such, and I think he's been putting out some quotes after the game talking about how he knows this is going to take a long time to fix. So if he can convince people that he's the right guy to do that, then yeah, I think he'll be absolutely fine. But I thought this was going to be going a little bit better than it has been going so far. Yes, it's fine that they're doing well in Europe still, but this domestic football, it feels like there's not really as much of a connection there, as say, between the players, the fans, the manager, as say you'd like to see. So I don't think he'd be worried about it, but I think he now understands the size of the task of trying to make Tottenham Hotspur a really, really successful football club.
Frank, what do you think?
I totally agree with Nathan. I think he's not in danger whatsoever, but I think he has to react. And he has to react, and he's like he has to, blow everything inside the dressing room, which never worked with that club, and make sure he can rebuild something and make sure that that club would deserve much more. I have big friends, Tottenham Spurs fans who really expect much more. They're so disappointed every year. They don't really complain, and it's maybe because of that the pressure is not there. They need the pressure. And when everything goes bad, Man City, Manchester United, Chelsea, Arsenal, any other big club, fans complain. Where we had Maresca complaining about not being supported by the fans or whoever. But that's what it is with big clubs. You need to win, and when you start losing, people should show that they're upset and want to see better football and better results.
Ala, you want to chime in?
No.
All right, we'll just move right on. After seeing all the scenes post-match, Nadom, do you have a favorite or unforgettable moment from when you played in the Tyne-Wear derby?
So it's the Wear Tyne derby, but what I would say is, even though Sunderland are unbeaten in the last 10 Premier League games against Newcastle, and my year at Sunderland wasn't a great year. I'm going to work backwards and say that we drew the second game in Sunderland. We drew 1-1, but the first game we lost 5-1, and I gave away a penalty. So I will say the highlight for me was Darren Bent scoring to make it 5-1, because then at least we had something to remember as a positive from the day itself. So yeah, I very much enjoyed today, but maybe it's because it distances myself and that previous game from 15 years ago.
I love how Nadom had to say that. It's the Wear Tyne derby and not the Tyne-Wear derby.
Alexis, can I have a word about that beautiful Sunderland team this season?
Of
because
course.
I didn't expect anything coming from them, and they're doing great. And I love the pressure. I love the derby, the style that the style he was playing was like the old time. But I have a word for the owner of that club, Kieran Louis-Dreyfus, who is Louis Dreyfus' son, and Louis Dreyfus was my chairman when I was playing at Marseille, and Kirill has 5% of Marseille. He's the majority shareholder for Sunderland. But that guy has done a fantastic job. The coach that he hired was completely unexpected, and the guy is doing great. Embraced the British football and the mentality that you have to have in order to fight against big clubs. And Sunderland is doing great because of those two guys. And I'm very proud of what that young owner is doing and what that good coach, young coach still is doing as well.
All right, look at Frank with
I've
all
got
the
to say, by the way,
friends in high
Alexis.
places.
Sorry, Alexis was going to say as well, before the game, they were showing like the video of the fans in the crowd, and it did make me think about, say, that playing in that match itself and the excitement that you have for it, because there was this sense of like excitement. You could see the nervousness, and playing football up there, it's everything to them, absolutely everything. And this derby itself is probably a bit different to other derbies that we see, because this game, if we're going to talk about it from a pure footballing standpoint, it's not a great game of football. But when you look at it through the lens of like a derby itself, it's fantastic. Some of the highlights of the game, not even the own goal itself, the last 4 or 5 minutes of the game, you're seeing players clashing into each other. There's like blood here. Trey Hume puts in the tackle in the 95th minute, gets the crowd going, yeah! Like that is what that derby is, and to play in that, you feel that passion, you feel that energy. And like I say, it's not necessarily always about the football, but the outcome itself feels just as good.
Can I just...
Of course.
If I may, for NATO, whatever happened 15 years ago, let it go, bro. Just turn the page. Just let it go. It was 15 years ago.
I can't. I can't. But what I'm doing, LA, is I'm trying to get ahead of it, because if I don't mention it, someone else will mention it to me. So if I hold my own trauma, then everything will be okay. There we go.
I promise you, Natum, that I will never bring it up. Not ever, 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 ever.
All right, next question. If Liverpool are unable to sign Marc Guéhi in January because Palace won't let him leave, should they then try to get someone else in January and move on from him? How crucial is a centre-back signing in January for Liverpool to reach top 4? Ali, do you want to crack at this one? Go to our defenders?
Well, go to Frank, who wants to talk.
Frank, let me go to you first on this one.
No, you misunderstood, my move, But I think it's more a general issue that Liverpool has. Yes, Guéhi will bring something good because I think neither Van Dijk nor Konate are giving their best. Yes, Guéhi could do better because he's a great player, great defender, and very good leader. But that's not all. I mean, we know that on the flanks they have to get better players. We know that in the middle of the park, McAllister, Gravenberg are only the shadow of themselves, I would say. And Liverpool still have to improve at front, except from Ekitike. So it's not only because they're going to get Guéhi that they maybe can reach the first 4 spots of the Premier League. I think they need much more, and maybe they should more focus on what they have to do together than only hoping for one player to change everything.
What I would suggest is that up until this Mohamed Salah drama that has transpired over the last week, 10 days or whatever it's been, yeah, the priority would have been figuring out what you do in bringing in a defender or a center back specifically. But now the Mohamed Salah conversation also sort of kind of barges itself into the room and onto the table, and you have to figure out, what do we do with Mohamed Salah? What happens? Are we making a decision? Is he part of the future for us? Is there a market for him out there in January that we could take advantage of and actually use that, whatever that market is, to then go and get that central defender that we're talking about? In all honesty, they had one single focus on one thing that they had to address. To Frank's point, there are more things that they need to address. And then out of nowhere in comes that Mohamed Salah conversation that then sort of diverts attention away from what should be your focus, which is improving the team.
Natum, you want it in?
Nah, I'm all good. They've said enough.
Okay, good, because the next question is actually for you.
He's still depressed from the previous question.
He's still feeling big feelings. All right, Natum. Well, the next question is actually for you. Natum, in hindsight, how productive was Manchester City's summer window? Reinders only sometimes starts. Nori hardly plays, and the club still doesn't have a proper right back. Do you think Cherki and Donnarumma have done enough to make up for the shortcomings of the other signings?
Well, I think they're doing completely fine. I think Reinders himself, he started the season well, then he seems just run out of steam. But then in comes Ryan Cherki when he's in full fitness, and he's done very, very well. I think Ryan Nori would have played more if it wasn't for an injury, and the fact that Nico O'Reilly's ended up being somehow one of the best attacking left backs in the division. We're talking about a full England international now. So I don't think the window itself has been too bad for them. I think obviously they lost a ton of experience. But the fact is, some of those players are performing well, and I think some of the performances that Cherki's had in recent weeks have been really, really exciting. I think in time, once these guys start to settle down, because it tends to be the way that City go, like it tends to take 6 months to a year for these players to really find their feet, to really settle in and understand what the manager wants. I think they'll do really, really well. I think Nori will play more between now and the end of the season, but for now, Nico O'Reilly's playing so well that kind of speaks for itself.
Mainham is so cool when it comes to Manchester City,
yeah.
in being able to deflect a question that is coming directly at him and at his club, and he just goes, yeah, no, just look over there, and look over there, look over here. Don't pay attention to the fact that you give up 4 goals to Fulham or 2 goals to Leeds.
He's good at deflecting.
No. Listen, hey, Nico O'Reilly, look at that left back. Yeah, Mateus Nunes, look at that right back. Oh, no, we're good. Even Natum knows that outside back position is an area of problems for Manchester City, and it's an area that will continue to have issues, because Mateus Nunes is not going to become a great right back overnight. And neither is Nico O'Reilly. He's done a job, but it's not a great job. He's done a job. They need actual players in those positions that actually can play those positions so that they can be more effective in the attack and particularly more effective in defense.
Natum, I see you nodding.
No, it's my camera. It's swaying up and down. It's not me nodding. It's my camera.
Anyways, this could be for Frank. Let's go Frank first. Do you think Newcastle has hit their ceiling with Eddie Howe? He's won an EFL Cup and gotten them in the Champions League, but do you see him accomplishing anything more with Newcastle?
You know what? I like that coach. I like the way he was thinking the football and the way that he brought Newcastle back to the best, not to their best, but to a very good level to fight with everybody else. So I want to give him more chance. I mean, we saw Unai Emery, being 19th in the league at the beginning of the season, and if the board of the Villains board would have listened to their maybe brain and hearts, they would have changed the coach and would have never seen what Unai Emery was capable of doing with the same players, the same tactic, just changing the mentality of the players. And I want to believe that Eddie Howe is capable of doing that. I mean, there is everything at St. James's Park at Newcastle to do something great. I think he needs some players, a little bit of touch where you can find something better, for sure. But I don't want to be too critical towards him, because I think he's done something with the material that he had and the individuals that he had. So let's see how far he can go. And I think it would be too early to think about somebody else.
Anyone else want to chime in?
I thought you said that was for Natum.
Well, I said maybe this one could be for Natum just because it's about his one of his many sworn enemies in Newcastle.
Nah, I'm not going to be the Newcastle correspondent. Please, let's move on.
Exactly. I knew it.
No, my God.
Is it? Hold on. So we get to pick and choose?
Professional.
We get to pick and choose?
In extra time, we get to pick and choose. In extra time, we get to pick and choose.
So if we don't like a question, we say nah.
Yeah, you could do it. Craig does it all the time.
That's a good question.
Wait a minute. Just because Craig does something, then that opens a whole can of worms as to what we can do in this show or not do.
But we understand why Natum
Let me answer the question.
If we all acted like Craig, that
Ali's
wouldn't
made
be
a good
show.
point.
Okay, go ahead.
Ali's made a good point. I will answer the question. That's the right thing to do. I think for me, the way that Newcastle is, it's not necessarily going to be a club that is going to be winning trophies every single season. So when you say, have you reached your ceiling? Who's to say what that even means? I think the fact that he got them in the FL Cup, that's the first trophy in the lifetime of so many of their supporters. And you see them now competing in the Champions League. They're going to be in the knockout stages of that more than likely. And who knows, maybe there's going to be a path. They'll give them a chance to, to compete in the later rounds in the FA Cup, maybe they're going to have a chance to win something again. And the fact is, if they are still in the league, pushing up for those European places, then if that is their ceiling, then that is a successful manager and that's a successful football side. So I don't think it's a problem to say that they've reached their ceiling, because previous managers kept them a long, long way away from that. And in fact, they were a lot closer to the floor.
Do you appreciate that answer from Nedum?
Well, I appreciate the professional,ism. I do, yes.
I tell
Thank you.
Our Nedum Manoa, always ever professional. Next question. When you are playing in a match, how aware are you of the crowd, Ale?
If you are flowing, if you're in that flow state as an athlete, you don't even hear the crowd. It's white noise.
Oh.
It's just it just feels like there is a bunch of bees around you. If you're in your flow state, when you know you're playing well, and every time you get the ball, you already have an idea as to what you're gonna do next, and you're seeing clear pictures. But if you're not nearly as confident, if you're not in the flow state, and you have been struggling, and you miss a chance, you hear everything. Everything. Even the things that you're not supposed to hear, you hear everything. Even the voices in your head are talking to you as well.
Dear.
You're hearing everything.
All your demons.
And the demons come back, and you just feel like the whole world is just kind of, everything is just focusing on you, even though there's a whole beautiful game going on, but somehow you feel like you are the problem. And that's when you have to fight through that and be able to, let me just complete this next pass, I'll complete the next pass, to get myself in a good position, a chance is gonna come, I'm gonna take advantage of this chance, I'm gonna score a goal, and then I'll go back into the flow state.
It's funny because I hear somebody who just talked about his experience, his own experience, you know, somebody who missed a goal and suddenly he heard the
world was caving in.
And it wasn't too much on the flow that he was talking about. But I agree with Ali. The thing is, when you play away from home, you shut down. I mean, if you don't have your fan, you don't care. The away fan, they can do whatever they want. You don't really care. And if they push their own team, you know that they're going to do that. So you don't. You deal with it. When you play at home, I would say that's everything the fans do, and especially when you play in England, even when you have the ball and an opponent is coming behind you, you can hear the fans say, "Oh, he's here! Be careful, he's here!" You know, and you play with that, and the fact that they cheer you up is also something who puts you in a better way and in an awareness like you never been. But it's true that when you miss a tackle, for example, and I'm talking my own experience now, and you miss a tackle and you say, "Oh my God," and the fans say, "Oh my God, what LeBoff is in right now? What is he doing?" You feel it, and you better shut down, because otherwise you're gonna struggle. But I would say that it can be a buzz, as Ali alluded. It can be a buzz noise, but when you play at home, I think you want to use that in your advantage. If everything goes well, when you're away from home, you don't care.
What about our empath, Nedum? Nedum, do you notice, feel, hear the crowd when you're playing?
Yeah, of course. And the way the guys have answered I think it's been spot on, because at times when you are just like really locked in, you don't really sense much going on elsewhere. But then there are times as well, for example, where within a game, like as was the case in the Weirtime derby, Trey Hugh makes a tackle literally in the 95th minute of the game, and it's as big a cheer as when Voltemada scored the own goal. You know, you hear that, you sense that, and he's trying to G everybody up, saying, "Yeah, come on." So that's really hearing the crowd. But then the other side of it, from a more negative standpoint, is you can hear the tens of thousands when it's like that. But for example, when I played at QPR, we had 2 relegations and a couple of mid-table seasons in the Championship, and that field and the fans are right there. So when you're doing well, it's amazing. They literally like elevate you and take it to that next level. When things aren't going well, like the fans don't throw the ball onto the pitch for a throw-in. They can hand it to you. That's how close they are. They're literally presenting you with the ball. And when you come over to be presented with the ball, they'll also present to you some of their opinions, which can be very, very strong and come from everywhere. And when you are playing at home and things aren't going great, these opinions are very often shared, and you do hear that, and you're very aware of it. And all you can say is, no problem. I'd take that on board. Thank you very much.
I'll tell you where Nadim can still hear the crowd a lot. Anytime we would do pitchside games for ESPN, and they're all calling Nadim to ask for pictures, autographs, he loves it. He stops. He takes all the smoke. He's a man of the people. He's a man of the people.
I thought you were going to talk about the Blackburn Rovers incident, but we'll save that for off air.
Oh, we'll save that for off air. That's the first time I have genuinely ever seen our Nadim Manua angry. Like, no joke. Like, no joke. Like, hands were about to be thrown. Let's just say that.
And it didn't include Zlatan.
And it didn't include that. Okay, so that's the second time we've seen Nadim genuinely angry. Next question. Final question,
How many questions
actually.
do we have today?
We have a lot of questions, guys. We're popular today.
gosh.
It's a Sunday. It's a Sunday fun day. Final question coming from Mr. Perfect. Hi. What is their favorite Christmas movie for everyone?
I don't have any Christmas movie. I can talk about the song. George Michael's song is my best Christmas song, but I don't have any favorite movie about Christmas. Yeah, Home Alone. Let's say Home Alone. It's fun.
Right. That's a solid pick.
Home Alone, times 2.
All right, okay. I see they put a lot of thought into this.
Wait, what did Nadim say just
Home Alone.
Home Alone as well?
Especially Nadim.
Yes.
Especially Nadim.
Christmas Vacation. Christmas Vacation.
Christmas Vacation.
That's
Solid one.
Yeah, that's the one
okay.
right there. Well, though Home Alone is a
Solid.
classic. Yeah, and sure, we can take that. But I'm gonna take Christmas Vacation.
All right.
Yeah, for the tree.
Well,
for the Christmas tree.
Nobody asked me, but Frank, my favorite Christmas movie is The Theory of Everything.
What?
Oh, thank you very much.
That's
love.
definitely not Christmas.
It's not a Christmas movie,
Definitely
but
not
whatever.
Christmas.
It's a great movie.
I just knew because Frank loves that movie.
There is great 17 seconds in that movie.
I think.
Yeah, but at least I had 17 seconds in that movie.
Yeah!
Yes. What
And
a
I have to
man.
say it's a little bit more, with the extra time.
Yes, there was some
Yeah,
stoppage time.
The
Yes.
extended cut. Yeah, the extended cut.
Yes.
All right.
Dr. LeBouf, he is.
Dr. LeBouf.
He is serious in that movie, you know?
He is.
He's bringing it.
He
No, I
is.
had
He
to.
brought
I had
it.
to.
Well, if
Come
you
on.
want more from Dr. LeBouf, as well as our empath Nadim, and just good old Ale Moreno, we are on ESPN FC every single day. Remember, a nice edition is coming your way tomorrow with Dimitar Berbatov.